Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 24th town meeting. Mr. Steele will not be with us this evening, and as such, with your help, I will do my best to work my way through this agenda. First thing is I'd like the clerk to call the roll.
David Becker. Here. Michael Hurley. Jay Lipp. Gaylord Meyer. Is this on? Yes. Okay. Eric Sudman. Hello. Peter Ambrose. Here. Amy Jennings. John Matola. Here. Jeff Steele. Keith Varian. Here. Ed Bateson. Here. Tom Conley. Here. Hank Behrens.
Here.
David McKenzie. Mary McCullough. Here. Heather Dean. Present. Joe DiMartino. Here. Art Hug. Here. Amy Mezoff. Here. Joe Palmer. Matthew Ambrose. Here. Josh Garskoff. Here. Chris McAleese. Here. Bruce May. Here. Ann Stamler. Here. Chris Brogan. Here. Lenore Campbell. Here. Julie Gottlieb. Here. Sheila Marmion. Here. Jay Wolf. Here. Jen Hochberg. Here. Kevin Hopkins. Here. Eric Newman. Mark Patton. Here. Hal Schwartz. Here. Kathy Braun. Dana Carey. Here. Alan Marks. Here. Tom McCarthy. Here. Jeff Stokoff. Bill Domica. Here. Joe Fellner. Here. Ellen Jacobs. Here. Nick Morabli. Present. Carol Pontrelli. Here. Chuck Abercrombie. Here. Lee Hannum. Ken Lee. Here. Bruce Ryan. Here. Carol Way.
All right. This evening we have the pleasure of having three representatives from the Andrew Ward boys tennis team who just won the state Class L tennis title. So I'd like to bring them up to do the Pledge of Allegiance with us, and then we have a presentation. Flags back there. Just start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, then if you'd stay standing, please, for a moment of silence. And I'd like to ask you to keep in your thoughts the family of First Selectman Tetro, whose mom, Rowena, passed away on June 4th. Thank you. Mr. Tetro. Boys, stay.
Hold it. You haven't been properly embarrassed yet.
We can embarrass you a little more.
All right, we have certificates up here for every member of the team. We're going to hand three of them to the gentleman to my left. And this congratulates the Fairfield Ward High School boys tennis team for your impressive achievement as 2013 Class L co-champs. Guys, congratulations again. Danny? Yes. There we go.
Thank you.
And Iad? Did I say that right? Yeah. All right. And Jack.
Thank you.
There we go. Were you going to ask or you want? Would either of you like to share any stories from your accomplishments? Guys, it's like Wimbledon weekend. You got to be thinking of something. Great season?
It's a great season.
Just say it right there.
It was a great season. We all worked really hard, and we came together as a team. It was great work by everyone.
What was your record?
Do you know what we were? Maybe 15-3? 15-3.
And who did you beat today?
Hand. From Madison.
Yeah, all right. Very good.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations again. All right, next item on the agenda is to consider and act upon the minutes of the regular meeting held on May 20th, 2013. Are there any proposed amendments or revisions to the minutes from the body? Hearing none. Can I have a motion to approve? Representative McCulloch in a second. Representative Brogan. Any comments from the body? No comments. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? Representative McCulloch.
Mr. Moderator, I'd like to ask that we take out of order item number 13 to come before item number 3.
All right, there's a motion on the floor to take item number 13 ahead of item 3. Second, Representative Bateson. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor of the motion to take item 13 ahead of item 3 signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. So we will be on item 13, which is to consider and act upon the following resolution recommended by the First Selectman. Resolved that a certain contract negotiated by and between the Town of Fairfield and the United Public Service Employees Union, UPSEU, Unit Number 454, concerning conditions of employment for the period commencing July 1st, 2010 and ending June 30th, 2014 be and hereby is ratified. It was referred to all standing committees. May I have a motion to approve? Representative Garskoff, and a second. Representative Miraboli. We'll go over committee votes. LNA had no quorum, so there was no vote. Finance was 6 in favor. 6 in favor. Public Works and Planning, no quorum and no vote. Public Health and Safety, the vote was 5 in favor, 3 abstentions, which were Representative Hurley, Meyer, and Fellner. Education and Recreation, the vote was 6 in favor. I'll open it up to the body for discussion. No discussion on the motion? Seeing no discussion, any comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the body. Any discussion on the motion to approve this contract? Do I reread this? Yes, no? No?
I move to waive.
Motion to waive the reading. Second, all in favor? Aye, thank you. So we will now have a vote. All in favor of item number 13, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed or any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. That brings us... The next item would be the consent calendar, and because 2 committees had no quorum, we do not have any items on consent. So item number 3 is to receive the assessor's report on the tax relief for the elderly programs as required under Chapter 95, Article 3, Section 15.1 of the Code of the Town of Fairfield. Mr. Ross.
I'm sorry, I distributed that report.
Oh, and the Assistant Town Clerk distributed that report. It's on your tables. Would you be better off up here?
Sure. Good evening. Our report for the town tax relief programs for the disabled and the elderly is as follows. Costs to the town for fiscal year 13-14 for the credit program, $3,744,747. For the freeze program, $17,897. For the deferral program, $43,958. Total for the 3 town tax relief programs, $3,806,602. This represents an increase of $649,477 over last year's June 25th's total report. The increase is 20.57% overall.
Any questions from the body? No questions. Representative Garskoff.
Josh Garskoff, District 5. Just a quick question. So this is the new ordinance that we're talking about here? This is the effects of the changes?
Yes, this
Okay,
reflects...
I was confused because it says 2012. That's what was throwing me off.
Okay, this reflects the ordinance passed January 28th. Okay, this is for fiscal year 2013-2014. Taxes are based on the grand list of 2012, October 1,
Thank you.
2012.
Any other questions from the body? Representative Mirabli.
Nick Mirabli, District 9. Mr. Ross, we considered, when we passed this ordinance about 6 months ago, the various options that were going to be available to seniors, and I remember going back and forth about these different options. Do you consider this a success, or maybe you can elaborate a little bit about the 3 buckets and what you saw there? As I see that we have 7 people in the second bucket, 16 families in the third bucket. Maybe elaborate a little bit about your feelings on those various programs.
Okay, the projections were very close. The budget had 4,550 allocated for the program. Okay, at the time the budget was put together, which was prior to May 15th, we didn't have figures yet for people who came off the programs for a variety of reasons. Either they sold their properties, or they died, or they failed to refile. Those are just some of the reasons.
Right.
When we plug in those numbers, people not receiving the program anymore for a variety of reasons, the projections that were done for the budget were very close to the actual final number.
That's great. Yeah, I think that shows a little bit of the success of the program, and that's what I thought, that we expected the freeze program to be a little less impactful, but that we thought it would be available to participants that wanted that. So I guess we consider that successful and right on plan. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, thank you, Mr. Ross.
Thank you.
Item number 4 is to receive a report from the Affordable Housing Committee. Sure. You can come up here if you prefer.
This is fine.
All right, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Good evening. I'm Steve Grothwall, and I'm chairman of the Affordable Housing Committee. And each year at about this time, we present our annual report to the RTM. And you should have all gotten a copy of this. And the format stays about the same each year, 4 pages. The first page is a listing of key statistical and demographic data, which we use to do an affordability gap analysis. The second page is a listing of some of the activities that we've undertaken over the past year. The third is a map showing the locations of the current listing of affordable housing developments in town. And then the fourth page is just a list of those developments. And tonight I'm joined by Jerry Stolman, who's a member of the committee. Jerry, you want to raise your hand? And Mark Barnhart, who is, as you know, Director of the Department of Community and Economic Development. And so if there are any questions, we'd be happy to answer them for you.
Point out what the handout is, I can't find it in my file.
Looks like that? Yes.
That came via email, Representative Braun.
Okay.
Are there any questions on the report? Seeing none. Oh, Representative Marmion.
Sheila Marmion, District 6. Could you just enumerate on some of the highlights of the report? I didn't print it out. Some of us may not have it in front of us if it was sent via email. Just kind of look at this year versus last year and hit the top line points. Thank you.
As I said, on page 1 is some of the key statistical data, and we use 2000 as a baseline. And so each year you get a report, you'll see 2000 and that year's statistical data. So last year was 2011, this year you're seeing 2012. And as I said, we use that to do an affordability gap analysis, which is of two types. There's the income gap, which takes the current median household income for the town and shows how it compares to what you need in order to buy the current median priced house in town. And there's always a gap. And I'll come back to that in a second. And then second is the price gap, which is you take the median household income and show how much you can afford to buy in today's market based on that. And then compare that to, again, the median priced house. And again, there's a gap. The median household income will not allow you to come into the market at today's median price. Now, one of the anomalies of the recession is that it makes housing more affordable. And so with housing prices coming down, interest rates are low, if you're lucky enough to have a job, you're more likely to be able to afford coming into town. And so if you look at the data, it looks like it's becoming more affordable. However, the price gap is still pretty dramatic. As we all know, Fairfield is a really nice town. People want to move in here. They pay more. They get the fixer-uppers. They make them bigger, and the price for those go up. The key things the task force has worked, the committee has worked on over the last year, the two most important are that we were tasked to update the 1988 Affordable Housing Plan, and the second is that we added 3 new members to the Affordable Housing Committee: Sal Bricks, Jill Hrozniak, and Deb Owens. And that's about it.
Selectman McCarthy-Vahey.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and Mr. Grathwell, and the Affordable Housing Committee as well. In terms of the updating of the Affordable Housing Plan, can you just give us a brief overview of where you are in that process? I know that at the Board of Selectmen we talked about including various stakeholders in town, and just wondering if you can also fill the RTM in as well as to how you plan to go about that.
And Mark, you want to come up with that too? I will tell you that we had a meeting with the League of Women Voters, and we've discussed several things with them. One is getting together with them in the fall. We also, our last meeting, we had a couple of, we had 4 or 5 members of the public, at least 1 member of the RTM joined us, and we're going to see about meeting with some of the RTM members in a different format.
Hi, it's Mark Barnhart, Director of Community Economic Development. As Steve indicated, we've undertaken an update, or we're in the process of update our affordable housing plan. We've spent the last few months compiling a lot of data, socioeconomic housing market data. We're in the process of analyzing that to determine trends, to get a pretty good sense as to what the market provides in the way of our existing housing market, our affordable housing inventory, the tools that we have used in the past within Fairfield to create affordable housing or maintain our housing stock, and whether those tools have been effective. And we're now moving beyond that. Hopefully in the fall, when people are kind of back from summer vacation, we'll be in a mode where we'll be doing a more intensive outreach to the public to gather input from them as to what they would like to see in the way of goals and objectives.
You want to mention the PowerPoint that we're working on? Okay. And the
Steve, I'm reminded that we did seek your support for an application to the state for funding, technical assistance funding available through OPM to further this effort to update our plan. We have not yet heard back on that funding. We did submit the application, as we had indicated. We're waiting to hear as to whether or not our application will be accepted.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, next item is item number 5, which is to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that the applications received under the Neighborhood Assistance Act, NAA, program are hereby approved, and that the Director of Community and Economic Development is hereby designated as the municipal liaison of the town of Fairfield for this program. This was referred to all standing committees. May I have a motion to approve? Representative McCulloch, I'm sorry. And second, Representative Ambrose. It's not funny from up here. All right, committee reports. L&A, again, had no quorum. Finance, the vote was 6 in favor. Public Works and Planning had no quorum. Education and Recreation, 6 in favor. And Public Health and Safety was 7 in favor, 1 abstention. Representative Meyer. All right, I'll open it up to the body. Any discussion? No discussion from the body. Any public comment? No public comment. Going back to the body. Any discussion? Hearing none. We will vote on this. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Thank you. The motion passes unanimously. Representative McCulloch. Seconded by Representative Schwartz. Sorry. All right, so just give me 1 second. This item was, oh, no, I'm sorry. All those in favor of waiving the reading, please signify. Thank you. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, committee votes. L&A, no quorum. Finance, 6 in favor. Public Works and Planning, no quorum. Public Health and Safety, 7 in favor, 1 abstention, which was Representative Meyer. And Education and Recreation was 6 in favor. Opening this up to the body. Representative Bateson.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ed Bates in District 3. I'd like to propose an amendment to insert the actual dollar amount at the end of the first paragraph. where it says is hereby approved in an amount to be finalized by HUD. I'd like to change that, is hereby approved in the amount of $436,986, comma, and. I'm sorry, Mr. Moderator, I'll accept the First Selectman's friendly amendment, which is to, and comma, not exceed, in an amount not to exceed $436,986.
All right, just so I'm clear, that's after the final and? No.
Is hereby approved in an amount not to exceed $436,986, comma, and.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to read the amendment, or the entire thing. So the amendment will, or the item will read that resolved that the program year 39, October 1, 2013 through September 30, 2014 Community Development Block Grant is hereby approved in an amount not to exceed $466,986, correct?
$436,986.
$436,986 to be finalized by HUD, and further resolved that Michael C. Tetro, First Selectman of the Town of Fairfield.
I'm sorry, Mr. Moderator. After $436,986,
Yes.
comma, and move on to the second paragraph, eliminate to be finalized by HUD.
Eliminate to be finalized by HUD. Okay, let me try it one more time. Resolved that the program year 39, October 1, 2013 through September 30, 2014 Community Development Block Grant is hereby approved in an amount not to exceed $436,986, and further resolved that Michael C. Tetro, First Selectman of the Town of Fairfield, be and hereby is authorized to execute any and all necessary documents to facilitate the town's participation in said CDBG program. Any discussion on the amendment? Seeing none. We need a second. Representative Schwartz. Yeah. All right, any discussion? Seeing no discussion, we'll vote on the amendment. Is there any public comment on the amendment only? I'm sorry? All right, seeing none, any, going back to the body, any comments? We will now vote on the amendment. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Passes unanimously. So we're back to the item as amended. Any discussion on the item? All right, hearing none, we'll vote on the item with the amendment. All in favor of item number 6, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? And any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Where am I? All in favor of waiving reading of item 7, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. This is the Fairfield Youth Services Grant in the amount of $28,729. Committee reports, L&A, no quorum. Finance, 6 in favor. Public Works and Planning, no quorum. Public Health and Safety, 8 in favor. And Education and Recreation, 6 in favor. Opening up the discussion to the body. Any discussion on item 7? Seeing none, any discussion from the public? Comments? Gina Paulus? Gina Paulus. Ms. Paulus, do you have anything that you'd like to comment on? I'm good. You're good. All right. Thank you. All right, back to the body. Any comments? Seeing none, we will, let's see, I think I should read it this time. Resolve that Michael C. Tetro, First Selectman of the Town of Fairfield, be and hereby is authorized to apply for the 2014 Fairfield Youth Services State Grant in the amount of $28,729 and to execute such documents as are necessary to facilitate such application. And further resolve that the town matches funds for said grant in the amount of $28,729 already contained in the fiscal year 2013-2014 budget and personnel services, and further resolve that upon receipt of such grant funds may be executed as set forth in the grant documents. All in favor of item 7, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. Item number 8 is to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that the granting of an easement to Skyview Solar for the purpose of erecting a photovoltaic electric generation system at the Postal Recreation Center parking lot at 75 Mill Plain Road for the sole benefit of the Postal Recreation Center, the term of the agreement being 20 years, be and hereby is approved. May I have a motion to approve? Representative Dean. And second, Representative DiMartino. All right, committee votes. Again, L&A had no quorum. Finance, the vote was 6 in favor. Public Works and Planning, no quorum. Public Health and Safety, the vote was all 8 in favor. And Education and Recreation, the vote was all 6 in favor. I'll open it up to the body for discussion. Representative Brogan.
Chris Brogan, District 6. Mr. Moderator, I'd like to make a motion to postpone consideration of this item until date certain, being the, I guess it's July meeting of the RTM.
All right, is there a second? Representative Bateson. Any discussion on the postponement, the motion to postpone?
Let me explain what we're talking about. What we have before us is just a resolution. Then attached to it was an easement called a facility easement for Mill Plain. What we don't have is, I think there's backup contracts that explain the terms of the easement, that talk about who's responsible for what, would it talk about the power, the power sharing arrangement, what we're paying, or all that stuff, indemnity, who's responsible for the upkeep, all the other things that we're kind of interested in. We talked about getting the contract at least the Monday night meeting. Yeah. I don't know, maybe the request may not get made it up through the system, I don't know. But I think it's important that we get a copy of the contract, take a look at it, and then maybe come back next July and vote on it then.
Representative Dean.
Representative Dean, District 4. Through you, Mr. Moderator, to the First Selectman, would there be any impact delaying this by 1 month, or what would be the impact by delaying it?
I'd like to defer that question to Mr. Michelangelo, our Director of DPW, who can answer that directly.
No, it sets us back a month in the time frame, but it doesn't jeopardize the program. It just delays it a month.
Okay, knowing that I don't have a problem with the delay. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, so we have a motion to postpone until a date certain, which Representative Brogan is the July 22nd meeting? Yes. All right. Public? No? All right. All right, so all in favor of the motion to postpone this item until July 22nd, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes unanimously. Thank you. Moving on to item number 9. To hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that the granting of an easement to Skyview Solar for the purpose of erecting a photovoltaic electric generation system on the roof of Operation Hope at 50 Nickel Street for the sole benefit of Operation Hope, the term of the agreement being 20 years, be and hereby is approved. This was referred to all standing committees. Can I have a motion to approve? Representative McCarthy. And second, Representative Hug. Stick your hand up more often. All right. Committee report. L&A, no quorum. Finance, 6 in favor. Public Works and Planning, no quorum. Public Health and Safety, the vote was 8 in favor. And Education and Recreation, the vote was all 6 in favor. Opening this up to the body. Representative Ambrose. Peter.
Peter Ambrose, District 2. I'd like to postpone this matter also to the July 22nd meeting for the same reasons that were suggested with the prior item. That is, would like to see the contract itself that's affixed to this easement to ascertain the terms of the contract and to have the time to and the opportunity to review that. So I think both items should be taken up at the July 22nd meeting. So for that reason, I'd ask to postpone this matter to a date certain, the July 22nd meeting.
All right, we have a motion to postpone, and we need a second from Representative McCarthy. Any discussion on the motion to postpone? Seeing none, we'll vote on this motion. All in favor of postponing item number, what are we on, 10? 9, sorry. Item number 9, until a date certain of July 22nd, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That also passes unanimously. Thank you. Representative Schwartz? Representative McCulloch?
Hi, Mr. Moderator, Mary McCullough, District 3. I'm going to suggest that, again, we take an item out of order on the call. We hear item number 10, followed by item number 12, then item number 11, so that the Ludlow project goes 10, 12, and then Riverfield project.
All right, we have a motion to, well, do we have a second? Patton, Representative Patton. Got to get name tags. All right, we have a motion to postpone, to take items out of order. Is there any discussion on that? The motion is to take item 10 and then go to 12 and then go back to 11. Seeing no discussion, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any abstention? Any opposition? Marks. Representative Marks. And any abstentions? All right. So we will hear item number 10, which is to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that the Town of Fairfield, 1, establish the Fairfield Ludlow High School Building Committee. 2, authorize the preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications for this project. And 3, Authorize the Board of Education to file an application for a school building grant. This was referred to all standing committees. May I have a motion to approve? Representative McCarthy. And second, Representative Hugg. Sorry, I'll look that way. All right, all in, no, not all in favor. All right. Committee reports. L&A had no quorum. Finance, the vote was 6 in favor. Public Works and Planning, no quorum. Public Health and Safety, all 8 in favor. Education and Recreation, the vote was all 6 in favor. What do I do here? All right, now we'll open this up to the body. Discussion on this motion. Representative Mezoff. I think they're prepared to give us one if we request one, but we haven't. Sure.
This motion contains the standard wording that is passed down to us from the state, that is passed with every building project that we're going for state reimbursement on. And that's the short form. Dr. Title's here. I think he can address that in more detail if you need.
Sure. You're here.
Through you, Mr. Moderator. A quick question of Mr. Tetro. And it's a process question. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm Amy Mezoff, District 4. It's a process question, nothing specific to this. We have before us 2 proposals tonight for 2 different schools. They were done differently. Can you just give us some insight about, is this a one-time change, or is this Building Process Review Committee still talking about this? Where are we with these changes? Thank you.
There are 2 projects before you tonight that came to us through 2 different kind of processes to get here. One is the traditional process we've used, and that's Riverfield School. We basically identify a project, we have a rough estimate, but we give it to the building committee. We give them some seed money to hire an architect. They take the ed spec and go out and say, what's it going to cost to build all this ed spec into a project? And then they come back to us. Occasionally we're surprised with the size of the number that comes back. And let's take Riverfield as an example. We had it originally at roughly 11 million, which was a very rough estimate. It went through several iterations, getting up as high as 17 million when the architect worked on it. The building committee worked very hard, and over about a 4 or 5 month period, got that number back down to high 13, low 14 kind of range. We looked at that, and it gets very frustrating, and I'm going to use an analogy like building a house. If you basically say, I want a 5-bedroom house with 4 bathrooms and so much of this and so much of that, and give that to an architect, you can end up with a $3.5 million house. When you go back and say, no, I only have $2 million in the budget, it's very hard to take a $3.5 million design and cut it back to $2 million. The Dr. Title, during our capital planning workshop, identified that not every town does it the way we traditionally had done it, and that there were perhaps better ways to take a look at. With Ludlow, we're doing it slightly differently. We're basically taking a look and saying, we're passing a resolution for how much money that we're going to pass, and think of it as going out and wanting that same house, but telling the architect up front, you have $2 million to build my house. So now the architect doesn't get he gets a blank sheet of paper, he doesn't get a blank check. All right, so if there's trouble with the budget, ideally we're going to hear about it a lot sooner, not a year or 18 months after the project's been initiated. So you basically are in a position of you're either going to define the project and say, tell me how much it's going to cost, or here's what I have to spend, complete the project for this much, and potentially if it doesn't fit, let me know, and we can decide whether we want those things that don't fit or not.
And that
ongoing, we're going to try it this way. Yes. All right, and it's part of kind of a collective discussion I'm going to say we've all had over time, to different degrees, to try and look at a better, more efficient way to kind of get projects and keep them within our planning numbers. And now that we have a waterfall chart, now that we have a capital plan that maps out, and now that we have the detail behind that literally tracks each project back to the waterfall chart, which lays out our capital spending needs, and the bottom line is that ties back into our annual debt service projections, and that's the number that hits the budget and has the impact on our taxes. It's a much more complete system that we're working with. So I don't mean to suggest Riverfield's the wrong way to go about it or Ludlow's the right way. They're two different approaches, and our town has tried one for a while. We're going to try this one for a bit and see what we learn from that. Is that okay?
Just, okay, in between almost knocking Mr. D'Amico out of his chair, I think I forgot my question. So the building committee's role is changing at this point, or is it just moving further down the line?
The charge has changed.
Okay.
You know, we used to give the building committee, we used to set up the building committee first,
Right.
give them some seed money,
Right.
and their charge said, take the ed spec, go tell us how much it's going to cost, and come back with a big bond resolution to support that. Now we're basically saying, we don't have a charge yet for this, and a charge doesn't come before this body, but it does come before the Board of Selectmen. And when we do the charge, it's going to say, you know, please go out and build this school, but build it for this much money.
Okay. So the building committee it's a limitation that's set for whatever construction there's going to be. And I'm assuming that this would apply to any of the construction that happens in town that requires a building committee? Well, I guess it's all the...
Well, in this specific case, we're starting with school projects that
Right.
need reimbursement, because that's how we get into all this extra wording that we need, and the fact that we need a building committee.
Right.
And because the building committee's typical charge is to meet the ed specification with their design. So they're given specs by the Board of Ed, and they have to go out and meet those. The economics or the dollars aren't directly involved. We're introducing the economics into that.
Okay. Okay, so I assume that the manual then that's handed out to the building committees will be revised.
Well, the Board of Selectmen
Reflect that.
charge will be revised to
Okay.
reflect that, so we catch it right there.
'Cause I did look at the manual, it's pretty extensive, but it was written, the one that I saw was in 1991, so I'm assuming that that's changed over time.
That was, I think that's changed over time. We also had an update around 2007 coming out of the Tomlinson School
I
Project.
didn't see that one, but yeah, I'm aware of that.
That's typically the manual we hand out to the building committees as part of their orientation.
Fine, thank you.
And I just, if I might, Dr. Title, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
No, but here I am, right? You did a great job. One of the differences is we're writing ed specs differently. The ed specs are not wide open, fix everything in the building that you possibly can ed specs. These are very narrow ed specs for the project. So the building committee is not just getting, you know, fix the building and do it for this number. It's, we want you to do A and B and C and fit it into this number. So they can't do D, E, and F, even if there's money left over in the project.
All right, that's it.
Any other comments from the body? Seeing none, any comments from the public? Seeing none, back to the body. All right. We will vote on item number 10, which again is to hear, consider and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Selectmen. Resolved that the Town of Fairfield, 1, establish the Fairfield-Ludlow High School Building Committee, 2, authorize the preparation of schematic drawings and outline specifications for this project, and 3, Authorize the Board of Education to file an application for a school building grant. We're going to vote on this now. So all in favor of item 10, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And any noes? Any abstentions? That item passes unanimously. 12 and 11. All right, we're going to move on to item number 12, which is to hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Finance. To hear, consider, and adopt the bond resolution entitled, "A Resolution Appropriating $11,630,000 for the costs associated with the expansion and renovation of Fairfield Ludlow High School, and authorizing the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, be and hereby is approved." May I have a motion to accept? Representative Lee, and second by Representative Fellner. Committee votes, again, L&A and Public Works and Planning had no quorum. Finance, the vote was 6 in favor. Public Health and Safety, the vote was 6 in favor, 2 abstentions, Representatives Hurley and Meyer. And Education and Recreation, the vote was all 6 in favor. Opening up to the body. Any discussion? Selectman Tetreault.
Just really a question to the body. One of the emails I got last week was from Joe Palmer through Jeff Steele, asking for a bit of a presentation on the kind of waterfall and capital plan to see how these two numbers impacted that. And I just wanted to confirm if the body still wanted to see that. Mr. Mayor's here and prepared to do that if you'd like.
Representative Braun. All right. And that's seconded by Representative Mirabli. Mr. Mayor, I don't know. Do we? Does he have any material?
He does have some.
All right.
Bob, you have some handouts.
Mr. Mayor, and he does have handouts.
Yeah. And Chris, it might be some of the same as yours. No, not you. Just responding to the question. I know.
It's not that bad. Just pretend you're me.
No, I don't want to hand it up. Good afternoon, or evening, I guess. I wasn't quite, the memo was pretty, the email that Mr. Tetreault referred to was pretty comprehensive, actually. So I prepared a few notes that won't take long, after which I'll hand out some schedules that we can go over. Basically, tonight, you're looking at a $25 million capital expenditure request in total. And I thought it might be interesting to put this in perspective. The town has 5 fire stations, 1 police station, 16 schools, approximately 70 playgrounds and sports fields, a DPW garage and facilities, town hall, old town hall, 187 miles of sanitary services, 127 miles, excuse me, of storm sewers. Excuse me, I meant sanitary sewers, not services. Has a waste management plant, has 274 miles of streets, and my favorite, 4,179 street lamps. And of course, we have cars, trucks, and machinery and equipment. The building and renovation of all of these items was performed with capital funding generated through some sort of capital planning process, or sometimes on the fly. The total cost basis of the entire town's properties is approximately $682 million. Of this total, debt for the amount is still owed is $25 million for the town and general purpose funds, $162 million for schools, and $19 million for the Clean Water Fund. Total of $206 million. In other words, of the $682 million that we own, about 70% is paid for. So you can see that to build and maintain these facilities, the infrastructure and machinery and equipment will always be investing. So the questions become, how are projects chosen? How do we manage our debt? And what guidelines do we use? Let me answer the last two questions first. The debt to budget ratio of any municipality is one of the measurements used by the rating agencies to develop the bond ratings. Under 10% is considered real strong. Over 15% is considered a concern. Between 10 and 15% is dependent upon the multiplicity of factors that the rating agency analyzes. The town of Fairfield's current debt to budget ratio is a little under 10%. It's about 9.5. In planning for the future, the first selectman, has directed that we stay within that range. Given our current plan, and with regional budget increases considered, our debt to expense ratio actually goes down a point over the next 8 years. In summary, the bond rating agencies set the guidelines, and the first selectman with the Board of Finance work to manage the debt within those guidelines. So on to the first question, how are projects chosen? Fairfield currently uses a formalized capital improvement planning workshop process to develop a long-term plan for sequencing and monitoring capital project needs and debt service. First, on both the town side and the education side, department heads put forth their priority projects. The anticipated costs of the projects are incorporated into a financial model we call the waterfall. The waterfall provides a scheduling of debt service requirements given the project selection and interest rate assumptions. The projects selected and timing of the projects are based upon the results of the model to ensure this town stays within the established guidelines. The capital planning workshop is held annually, and this process is relatively new to Fairfield, but it's necessary to be able to measure and monitor the long-term impact of capital activities. So here's what we have tonight. First, before we look at these three projects, I want to say when they were presented more or less at the same time, the total debt service that would have been required over the next 10-year period came close to reaching the guideline parameters. As a result, the first selectman directed that the plan that was looked at in February be reviewed and adjustments was made to that schedule. The first handout I have is a summary of those adjustments. While it's being handed out, basically what it did was remove a couple of things and move forward a couple of things. And I'm not sure we want to go into detail, but when you get it, if you look at it, you have any questions, we can do that. The second handout is 3 schedules showing the impact on the debt service plan as it was prospectively viewed in February of 2013 with the impact of the changes for both projects that we're looking at tonight. That's the second payment, yes. I think there's plenty out there. Okay. So I'd like to refer to the two-page document that the first page is two-sided. They're labeled Schedule 1, Schedule 2, and Schedule 3. Schedule 1 is the first column, basically is the year ending, it's the future. Schedule 2 is the debt service that would have been required had the town, assuming the town would have stayed within the, not within the guidelines, but had it issued no additional debt beyond that date. No additional projects were bonded. So you can see the capital, the debt service for 12 was $23,833,000. For this last year, fiscal year ended June 30, 13, $26 million. And you can see 14 is projected to be $27,589,000. Okay. The May 13 number is the result of adding the Fairfield Ludlow High School renovations combined with reducing some of the other projects to maintain the parameters that we were looking for and or moving them forward in time or out further. You can see in the fourth column the difference that this sum of those changes made. You can see that going forward to the year 2023, the debt service amount was decreased by $5,374,000. And you can see that's made up for going forward from 24 to 33. There's an increase of $1,600,000, and going forward from 34 to 43, an increase of $5 million, for a net of the 30-year period of $1,368,000. That, of course, is paid out over a 30-year period, so when you present value it, it's really a no impact from a financial perspective. I'm looking at Schedule 1 right now. Well, there's only one handout. It should say Schedule 1. I'm sorry. The two handouts. The first handout was the assumptions. I apologize. I understand we're talking about two handouts. I thought you were talking about two handouts with numbers on it. No, I'm talking about Schedule, well, you said Schedule 2, but that's what confused me, I think. Yeah, we're looking at the four-columnar schedule, Schedule 1, 2, and 3. Questions on Schedule 1? Schedule 2 was then taking the result of Schedule 1 and factoring in the Riverside School. Now, Riverside School was already Riverfield, I'm sorry. Riverfield School was already incorporated in the schedule that was reviewed in February and carried forward. So this actually, but it was in there at $13 million. What you have before you tonight, I think, is $14,485,000. So this specific schedule actually shows you the impact on our debt service of that increase of $1.458 million. So you can see over the first 20-year period, increasing Riverfield School project from $13 million to approximately $14.5 million cost us $617,000, and over the total 30-year period, $884,000. So then you get to Schedule 3, which is the combination of the three activities. 1, amending the original schedule. 2, factoring in Ludlow. And 3, factoring in Riverfield. So you can see that the debt service savings to the town from the period ending June 30, 2014 through the period ending June 30, 2023 is $4,756,000. That is made up for in the next 20 years with an additional $7 million required for net cost of the town over the full 30-year period of about $2.8 million. And again, since you're paying it, bonding it today, paying it in future dollars, when you present value it, it's really a nil cost to the town. So that's the process. That's what the town owes and owns, and that's the impact that would be on the debt service schedule should the RTM choose to approve both the resolutions before it. Questions?
Thank you. Josh Garskoff, District 5. You must have to make assumptions about interest rates in these calculations, is that right?
Correct.
Can you explain how that is handled?
The last bonding, basically we use what's in the marketplace. The last bonding cost was a little over 2%. What we have in our model for this year and the next couple of years is 3.5%, goes out to 4%.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Ed Bateson, District 3. Through you to the superintendent or the Board of Ed, I see a lot of assumptions on here. Dwight, Sherman School, Holland Hill, Tomlinson, Mill Hill, Jennings. And I know there was extensive discussions on this at the Board of Finance. You guys are at peace with the reshuffling that's been done here on the timeline in the waterfall.
I was actually looking forward to this question because both the Board of Selectmen, Board of Finance, and the RTM committees have asked me in a variety of ways, does the Board of Education accept the fact that we are part of the town and that we need to plan our projects to fit within the waterfall chart? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. When you say, are we at peace with every project that is shown in every year, that's a more dynamic question, and we understand that if a project has to move for whatever reason forward, then we have to find another project to move back. We need to keep it in balance. And so we have a number of projects that are still open for final decision, Riverfield and Ludlow tonight, the security report from the police chief, the Wooded report on our buildings, whether relative to windows. And when all of that information is known this fall, we will take a real close look at the waterfall chart
and make whatever priority decisions we need, but we're going to keep it in balance. Does that get to what you need? Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
Is there any further discussion on item number 12? We did the committee reports, right? Yeah. We made the motion. Did we do the committee reports? Yes. We did. All right. All right, so we'll go to the public. Are there any comments on this item from the public? Seeing none, back to the body. Any further comments? It's too late, I already did it. All right, so we'll now vote on item number 12, which again is to consider and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the First Selectman. Resolved that a certain contract, well, sorry, wrong one. Thank you. Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? No, thank you. So I put a big X next to the one I'm supposed to be reading and moved on to the next one. All right. So all in favor of item number 12, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. Thank you. So we're going to 11 now, right? Yeah. All right, item number 11. To hear, consider, and act upon the following resolution as recommended by the Board of Finance. Resolved that the bond resolution entitled, "A Resolution Appropriating $14,485,766 for the costs associated with the expansion and renovation of Riverfield Elementary School and authorizing the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, be and hereby is approved." May I have a motion to approve? Representative McCulloch, and seconded by Representative Hawkins. All right, committee votes. L&A and also Public Works and Planning, no quorum. Finance was 6 in favor. Public Health and Safety, the vote was all 8 in favor, and Education and Recreation, all 6 in favor. Opening up to the body for discussion. Patton, Representative Patton.
Mark Patton, District 7. I have to say that, to be serious for a second, for the last year as we've been debating this project coming forth, it was one of the big things that many of us were, had big reservations about, myself included. How can we afford to spend 11, 15, or 17 million dollars on, another school in light of the economic climate? And to be honest, it took a lot of convincing by the building committee, ably led by Mr. Quinn here. I think I've gotten more information out of him and this committee than any building committee in the last several years. So I think the project is important. I think it has now been done the right way between all the different moving parts that this could have done or had, sacrificing certain things for the other, not taking down the pod, but fixing things in the pod to make that space more usable. We've all seen the things in the tours with, OTPT moving from the hallway inside a curtain area in the pod, and now it will have its own space. But I'm I've certainly changed my opinion. I am for this project, and again, I think it's done the right way. I appreciate what the Board of Ed and Dr. Title have done, fitting these projects into the waterfall charts, which was the big reservation with everybody, with all these projects is, well, you can't have everything. And so we're going to try and do the best we can. And I'm in support of this.
Representative Mirably.
Nick Mirably, District 9. Like Representative Patton, I'm in favor of this motion. I believe that the committee's done a tremendous job with this project. It's a long time coming for Riverfield and the community. I think that they did a nice job bringing this budget in, getting it down from $17 million down to $14.5 million. I think they did a nice job, as you said, incorporating what are we going to do with the pod, what are we going to do with that expansion that had been done so many years ago, taking into neighbors' considerations on what the footprint would look like and what would become of that property. I think that this is a great project, and I'm in favor of it. Thank you.
Any other comments from the body? Seeing none, we'll go to the public. Any comments from the public? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and your address.
My name is Brenda Anziano. I'm the principal of Riverfield School, and I stand for all the parents that are in the audience tonight, and I hope that you will support our project. It's a project that we really need, and I've told them all, don't talk unless we need to, so I just hope that you will support our project.
All right, thank you. Mr. Quinn.
Well, if Brenda's going to get up here on her own volition, then I sure as heck have to get up here and tell you that she was a very, very able, willing, gracious partner for the building committee. It was a tough job, and I kid you not, it's like 14 months that we've been meeting on this project. We do appreciate your support, but we're just beginning. Okay, we got a long way to go, but we have the right path, the right direction, and the right people. So I do thank you for your support. And Brenda, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none, any further comments from the body? Seeing none, we'll vote on this item. Item number 11. Second by Lee, seconded by Representative Lee. I'm glad we can all have fun at my expense. All right. So voting on this item. Thank you. Voting on this item. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Sure.
Before the final moment, I've asked for a moment of personal privilege. Would you all join me in thanking our deputy moderator tonight?
Well, at least we all have something to laugh about. Thank you. All right, very good. All right, item number 13 is to consider and act upon the following resolution recommended by the First Selectman. Oh, we did 13. See? We're done. Oh, that's why we're done. Any announcements? All right, motion to adjourn by Schwartz, Representative Schwartz, and seconded by Representative Wolk. And all in favor, please, aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jeff.